for introducing a very important constitutional amendment to this country. Never before, Mr. Speaker, never before, but he saw fit and the government has saw fit to introduce this very important constitutional bill to this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I take note of the debates by the opposition. I take serious note of the debate by the opposition, because in this country and in this Parliament we need to have a constructive, intelligent opposition. That's what we need. That's what we need. Because nobody is a fallible. You may make a mistake. That is why you must harim opposition non talk. Na mi harim talk long opposition, mi harim. You plek en les lo mita so mi harim. This plan talk long opposition. So thank you for the opposition and those who have supported the bill on the side of the government. I am the government. I am the member of the government, so I'm obliged to support the bill that is before this Parliament. I'm obliged. Mr. Speaker, we are not alone. We are not alone. Never you think that the opposition, this country is alone. Never you think. Mr. Speaker, we are part of the international community. We need the support of the international community. We need the support of the United Nations. We need the support of the Commonwealth. We need the support of our friends like Australia and New Zealand and others. We're getting help from our people in the international sphere. We need their support. They're inclined and seriously inclined to support what goes on in this country, Papua New Guinea. They're inclined. So whatever law that we pass in this country, we don't injure their feelings. We don't injure their minds. The law which is passed in this country must be conformed to the international law. The international law. It must conform to the Constitution of this country. Because what is enshrined in the Constitution of the country is what is there in the international law.
Honourable Governor, sorry,
Mr. Speaker,
I interrupt you. I would like to ask you to lift the mic that you have bent over. Oh. Can you lift that up? It's for the recording purposes.
Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Thank you. Make your
sorry,
debate.
Sir. Sorry, sir. So, whatever we do, not just the government, Mr. Speaker, not just the government, the business community of this world, whatever that goes on and transpires in this country must be reasonably acceptable to the international community. And this is very important, Mr. Speaker. And the Attorney General saw fit to bring this bill, and we in the government 100% support this bill. 100%. The opposition can argue these things, but that you want to defeat this bill depends on your number. Because what goes on in this Parliament depends on the number. On the number. On the number. You can argue here and there, but you want to defeat this bill based on your numbers. All right? So I want to say that this government is mindful of what the Minister for Attorney General said, stability. Stability, Mr. Speaker. You listen. You're shouting, but listen. When you were talking, I was listening. Yeah, stability.
Order.
Stability, Mr. Speaker, in the governance and in the political governance. Political governance, there must be stability, Mr. Speaker. When there is a continuous vote of no confidence, it challenges the stability of the political stable governance. That is why this bill has been brought, to make sure, of course, you have a right under Section 45, or 145. You have a right. The people who are supporting the government, you have a right under Section 145 of the Constitution. You think the government in the instant government is running this country, you think the government is not delivering to this country, you have a right under Section 145. But to vacate that government, you must have numbers. You must have numbers. You can talk here and there, but you must have numbers to vacate this government. And as far as, Mr. Speaker, this government is concerned, stability is very important. So very important to this country, Papua New Guinea. So Section 145 gives you the power. If you want to vacate this government, you must master the magic number. So far you have failed to master the magic number. You failed. If I want to give you a description, you wouldn't like it, but I will restrain. If I want to give you that description, you would not like it, I will restrain. With due respect. Right?
Honorable,
due respect, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Governor, make your debate to the chair and not to point finger at any side of the House.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, and we need in this Parliament law which will stabilize this government, considering that you, whoever wants to challenge this government, have a right to a vote of no confidence. You have a right. But this country needs stability in a political governance.
Why do you destroy it?
Political governance.
Why do you destroy it?
What?
You are destroying it.
Who is destroying it? Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Honorable Governor.
That's what you're saying.
Honorable Governor, you address the Parliament, address the House.
That's what you're saying.
You start continuing addressing individual members, I will ask you to resume your seat.
No, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. They're inciting me to the degree that I have to respond. Mr. Speaker, what the bill is trying to achieve is to make sure the government, by its numbers, defeat the motion to maintain the political government's stability. This bill is trying to achieve that. And I support it. I support this bill. And unless you people who are crying foul have the numbers to vacate this government, you provide the numbers. If you don't provide these numbers, you don't have the power. Mr. Speaker, we need stability. Stability in this government.
Honorable Governor, we have a point of order from Member 4.
Mr. Speaker, it sounds like the good governor has exhausted his debate. He keeps repeating himself. It's like a broken record right now. DJ. So I think if he's exhausted his debate, maybe he could conclude, and there are other people in the House who want to debate.
Honorable Member, I've allowed you the full 20 minutes to make your debate, and it's the governor's turn to make his debate. Your point of order is out of order. I'll allow the governor.
I'm debating by the time. I can vividly see the time. If these people cannot be with this at a time, they have problems. They should vacate from this parliament.
Honourable Governor, make your debate.
Yeah. So the bill before this parliament, I will urge all the members of the government team to unreservedly provide the numbers to support the debate. Support the debate. That's what we need. And the business community want to come and invest in this country. But they're concerned, Mr. Speaker, whether this government will continue. Very good investment. For instance, WAPI. They want to bring, the investors want to come in, but they're concerned about the stability. I have to build a road to Kabul. I have to build a road to Groina. I have to build a road to Shalom. I have to build a road to Yus and to Saido in the Medang province. Where will I get the money? Where will I get the money to do those things? The money is coming from WAPI. Must come from WAPI. But the investors in the WAPI have a reservation because they're worried. The opposition is moving a vote of no confidence. New government will come into place. Right? That is why many reservations, not just the WAPI, but many other mines and many other businesses, because they want stability in the nation, particularly in the political governance. Political governance. If there is no political governance, the investors will not be inclined, Mr. Speaker, to come and invest. Invest. And as I told you already, we are not alone, Mr. Speaker. We're a member of the international community. And the international community will come in to assist as long as there is a stability, particularly in the political governance.
You said it 20 times.
Well, you said it many times, but you are inciting, you were trying to make something, so I'm telling you again and again. And Mr. Speaker, I'm talking to the Speaker, not talking to my learned friend. I'm not talking to my learned friend, I'm talking to the Honourable Speaker. That's the right thing to do, isn't it? Mr. Speaker, we need international friends. And not just the international friend, the public servant, Mr. Speaker. When they reach a proposed vote of no confidence, they don't go to work. I sit in line. They don't go to work. Hey, there's a vote of no confidence coming. There's a new government coming in. They don't do the work. I tell them to go to Finchafen to check on those things. They don't go because, hey, the government by come inside there. And even the company. The companies too. There's a new government coming in. We don't know the devils in the new people in the new government. We don't know them, Mr. Speaker. Right? And they restrain for constructive negotiation, constructive involvement. Because they suspect that there's a new government coming in. Mr. Speaker, that is why, Mr. Speaker, I say there must be stability. Period, Mr. Speaker, period. If you have the numbers to change the government, you do. You do. If you don't have the numbers, no one to talk plenty. No one to talk plenty. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I got 5 more minutes. I'm going by the time. I got 5 minutes. Mr. Speaker, And I think the government will unanimously support this bill. Government will support unanimously this bill because we need political stability. Political stability. And if you, my learned friend, member for Chena Yongabul, if you have the numbers, come and dethrone this government. Chena Yongabul, my brother.
Honorable Governor, you seem to be targeting one member of Parliament.
Yeah, but he's shouting. He's shouting. He is the one who's inciting me.
Honorable Governor, if you continue, I will suspend your 4 minutes and allow for another speaker.
Mr. Speaker, allow me. Allow me. So the government will stand. Government will stand to support the bill, and it must stand to support this bill because it's good for this country. And to finish off, I have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. No, 3 minutes. Mr. Speaker, meeting strong through. Also, Prime Minister must be elected by the people. Me strong. Opposition, you must have an argument with me now. Prime Minister must be voted by the people of this country. You must change the constitutional law. Change the constitutional law. Prime Minister must be voted by the people. And must be voted by the people for 5 years. 5 or 4 years. And your opposition must come and support me. This idea. And I'm sure Honorable the Prime Minister James Marape has already made a point. The Prime Minister must be elected by the people. So that whoever the Prime Minister they elect, this nation so fit to elect, he will remain there in power for whatever term this constitutional amendment will give. 4 years or 5 years have I given. So you come to complain here and there, you are going to complain so all people about me maki mem. Me maki mem. So if you opposition there, come support me. Prime Minister must be elected by the people. You move around, you mean campaign, policy you mean, now people of this country by voting you mean. What is something you promise to deliver along interest for this country? This Prime Minister must deliver him long one in time constitution give him. Then you may all complain, you will complain, me, the Prime Minister, member of Lotari, you will complain, you go stop, yeah, you may not complain. Because Prime Minister is elected by the people, Mr. Speaker. And I want to urge all of you that we work together, the government and the opposition. Prime Minister must be elected by the people. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Governor. The Honourable Member for Wabet.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I think this afternoon I would also like to acknowledge the Minister for Justice for the paper he brought. And I would also like to join in the debate this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, a vote of no confidence is an important tool for any democracy. Mr. Speaker, stability is important, but stability in the hands of a tyrant and stability in the hands of an incompetent demagogue can be very dangerous. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we have a good Prime Minister, but laws must be made for the future. Laws must be made for the stability of government into the future. And I don't think this law here will serve that purpose. Mr. Speaker, now you may start with here. Life is filled with ups and downs. One time you will find yourself on this side of the house, and you would want a law that will give you that opportunity for a vote of no confidence, that will give you an opportunity to measure the performance of the NSC of the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, legally talking to the Islam. democracy is an important thing. There's a lot of countries in the world today who long to have a democratic government. Now, it doesn't change overnight. Forms of government don't change overnight. It takes a process, and slowly it creeps into the system. And when you wake up, you will have a form of government that's quite difficult and that's quite hostile for our people. Mr. Speaker, this afternoon we like talking. There's other ways to achieve stability. There's other ways to achieve stability. And I want to appeal to our good Prime Minister. During a time when the government, when the country is going down, you can say all you want to say, but the indices don't show anything. The basic socio-economic indices don't tell a good story.
That's right.
So I want to appeal. You know, stability can be gotten in different ways. And one of those ways would be to start by appointing competent people.
Yeah.
When you start appointing competent people, they will do their job, and you will have a stable government. When you start appointing incompetent people, there will be instability.
Correct.
Because people on the streets, they can smell a rat from 1,000 miles away. Mr. Speaker, this country belongs to our children. Now, I want to appeal to our leaders on the other side. If you feel this law is for the betterment of our children and not for some political convenience at the moment, then we will vote for this. I believe stability is an important thing for any government. But stability in the hands of an incompetent person and in the hands of a tyrant in the future will be quite dangerous for the future of our children, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon we like talking. Instead of boasting about numbers, we should show leadership on this floor. There must be principles on this floor. Today you are here, tomorrow you will be on the streets. And you would want to make a law that will save you, whether you're on that side, on this side, or on the streets. Mr. Speaker, I know we have a good Prime Minister, but maybe stability can be achieved in a different manner. And I want to appeal. If we can achieve stability through performance. Now, there's overwhelming evidence. Performing governments are quite stable. Well over, in all the democracies, performing governments are quite stable. When you have non-performing governments in place, that's when the people start to rise. That's when there are complaints all over. And you penalize people by making these sort of draconian laws. So, Mr. Speaker, today I want to appeal to you, you and me, and all the people on this floor, we have children that will grow up in this country. Later on, we don't want a tyrant, we don't want an evil ruler to sit here and use this law to further his interest. So when we sit in this house and when we start making laws, we must think about the future. I don't think foreign direct investments are not coming because of stability issues. Foreign direct investments are not coming because of law and order. Because there's no rule of law. Rule of law forms the foundation for any civilized society. When there is protection of lives and property, when people know that there's a rule of law, there's deterrence, there's peace, and foreign direct investment comes, not through stability. When you have corrupt politicians, stability will do nothing. These are people, these are not robots coming into our country. They can smell, they can see. So, Mr. Speaker, to finish off, I just want to appeal. You know, I think we can achieve, Prime Minister, to you, we can achieve stability in the government if you start performing. If we start sacking incompetent and non-performing ministers. If we start sacking non-competent and politically appointed colleagues who are sitting in the boards, that's where the problem is. The problem is not stability. The problem is people are not doing their jobs. Once we start addressing that issue, you will have stability. I tell you, These circuits will continue until and unless we address the problem of incompetence and appointing incompetent political cronies to positions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Commerce.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And first time Blumilo Sanap Law. Parliament, Mr. 7 is Law Grievit and Minister Sanap. So, opposition government side, if I make some mistakes, please bear on me. Thank you very much. Minister, me supporting this bill. Minister Toto, but time me looking, I support, I fully support. Because time is a stop law, vote of no confidence law. But must be my people they complain. Time only calling me. Mr. Vote of no confidence. I close to now. You blame me the one is on you love. That's one. Two. Thank your finance minister. You give me 5 million. As of today, makes you 5 million, so thank you very much. I hope you might give me some next week or after next week, might give me. Obviously later, to Blaman, you be blessing out, but some of us, we are fake, distributed me, 100% me supporting me. People like me stop law, government, makes you 5 million. On your record, you will see.
Honourable Minister, we have a point of order. Member for about what's your point of order?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, Minister has scared me with his announcement. That's on hindsight. Is this the culture we are fighting for?
Instability.
Is that what you mean by stability?
By stability.
Honourable Minister, you can explain your debate on what you have said.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Member. Sepukatemu. Good luck comment. We need to learn from you. So good luck you talking to me. So I have to say something other way you think, but I have to say something first. Thank you. Finance Minister, thank you. DSIP, you give me work law district. Now, fully supporting distribution, fairly distribution blue. I'm not with the government, I'm not with the opposition, but I'm just talking because we are all equal. So we need to get our DSIP, PIP. So, time you talk fairly, me too, me one below you. So am I right or wrong? Am I right there? Okay. James, middle you know what total plenty.
Honourable Minister, talk to the chair and address the Parliament.
Thank you.
Honourable Minister, we have a point of order. What's your point of order?
No, very simple, Mr. Acting Assistant Speaker. He shouldn't be calling my name for drinking wine with him or whatever. He should be addressing you. Thank you.
Honourable Member, your point of order is... No, it's not in order. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I know him very well, so that's why I call him James. So no worries. One day this plan, me support him this bill. Plenty time, people are wasting time, but must be. People like me, myself. Now me total people blame me on Larem Law District. I spend so much time here. Interest blow, 1, 2 blow, man, lots of Prime Minister. I'm not here to get Prime Minister, but I'm here for my people. This bill, me support him because this bill I must give him time frame blah, so that you must find him work plan blah district na department. Me no time work blah department. Me no time work district. Why will you not to support? Let's not support. Why? You worry people be blown. You need to go back. I need to go back. We must have more time. We must have more time. Law and order problem. We're leaders. We have to go back. My Governor of Western Islands, myself, Jacob McGee, Honorable William Duma, we need to go back and look after our province. I need to look after my district. The Governor needs to look after his province. You probably here, you will face the law and order problem. Law and order, people, it's leader, you are leading the people. Which way are you leading the people? How are you leading the people? Where's your leadership? Where's your leadership? You come Los Alamos Pena, Sim the SIP. Cannot. Go back to the place. Go back to the district. Help the people. Have some more time. This is very good. This is very good. Come on, leaders. You mean not what in Islam? Opposition government, we want for it. After 27 come, all of us, we want to be a leader. We want to be a prime minister. 27 you come, you have the big number, you go for it. And this is very lucky. My minister is bringing very powerful and very important bill. We all need to support. We all need to support. We must have extra time. I need time. My department needs time. My people need time. District. How are you leading your people? How are you leading? You need to have time for your people. Because you lead them in the wrong direction. Now you're facing problem now. You know how to talk now. Law and order problem now. You look at me, one blood time, also 5 time, Mr. Lusim must be. Mr. Lusim department, Mr. Call a place, upside come, me put your money, me put your peak, all put your money, all put your peak. We solved the problem because we got time, Mr. Miki. Because I lead them in the right direction. Minister, I support you because you give me enough time. So I have to go back to my district and my department. And I have to work for my people in the district, in the province, Papua New Guinea. We have to do it. Don't think negative. Don't think politics. We are not here to come and do politics and politics. We don't plan to blame here. You talk, but I don't understand how you talk. I don't understand how we talk, how we understand. This is very, very, very good bill. You will all get arima, you will all get watching, because we must got time. After 27 come, anybody become a prime minister, you got a number, bang, you are very lucky man. And opposition too, and government too. We all should be lucky. And Tasolna, Mila Kobek Lili law, stability. Stability, law and order. Law and order mistake, leadership. When there is a poor leadership, law and order race, you go back to your province and district.
Honorable Minister, address to the chair.
Okay, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, it all must know and go. All must know and stop here. All must go back to the district, the province law. Now, law and order, all must solve it.
Minister,
law and order.
We have a point of order. We have a point of order. Honorable Member for Wape.
There's like an insinuation I'm making an inakuta.
Yes.
We know police minister. We know defense minister. I mean, go down. Some of them stop him on man, let's go fight. These things are happening because of a deep-seated issue with government. Like it is. Because law and order and problem we express it openly, it's happening openly out there. But in other places, it's the same thing is happening. There are matters happening in places, matters have never happened before. Leader, It's like an insinuation or something. You talk, not going to make it. I'm wrong.
And now?
Honourable Member, your point of order is in order. Honourable Minister, I would ask you to sum up your debate if you still have a statement.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. If me acting feelings blue blah, the leadership you black out, let me, I'm sorry. But me talk was in general. You me leaders, people marking me blah. People marking me blah, locating people. I didn't talk to people. Go down to them. You less slow work. You put your man blue one up. I want to be a leader. What's that leader for? Leader blow locating people. You know, blow you come to parliament na, locating DSP na, PIP na, budget na, it's like I know. Leader blow locating people. So you must locating people. Stability. Me total stability. Suppose you mean got good black government, no got one blah, word of no confidence and come close to, and then me support him, Honorable Richard Maru and myself, plan the investors becoming said. And then you create more employment. Plan the investors becoming said, I support my colleague, Honorable Richard Maru, for investments and being talked along. Government caucus na miarim na and talk through. Suppose stability law government him stop. Now you may support him this law. Now stability stop. Now investors come, creating more employment. Plan the factory must stop here. You do glue law, Fiji, Samoa, Vanuatu, Nui, Yuluguma, or lower ground law, working factory blow, we can get them here and they can build their factory here. And then we can create the employment. You look at, like next week, I'm going to launch manufacturing policy here. So manufacturing policy is approved by Hennessy. So next week, I'm going to launch it. So we'll take more investors come and manufacture everything here. So law and order, it depends on that leadership. Stability, Prime Minister must have 4 years, 5 years, and then all the investors become check, and then our country and grow. Our people need jobs. You may fight your Prime Minister stuff. You may count the months stuff. 18 months go now, 12 months go, 6 months, 5 months left now. Call go, make a Prime Minister. You're wasting people's time, man. You know, like work law, obviously, you know, stop. Me know, like work law, obviously, you know, stop. We put him under blow 7 people. So, time 18 months like I'm now, ring go, and mobilization, the first blow, tell go. We're wasting people's time. Better work for this, and then we go for 2027. You come back, you Prime Minister. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Governor for Central.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity to speak Maki Mouse Law people of the Central Province. First of all, me talk thank you, Law. Attorney General Law. Kisim Displabili come. I want to say that perhaps the timing for bringing this bill to the floor to be debated and passed is not the appropriate time. And why do I say that? I say that because, like other members of Parliament have already mentioned, especially in the opposition, we are experiencing law and order crisis. And while it affects everyone, women and children are very much affected by law and order. It also affects businesses, it affects right across society. We are experiencing foreign exchange problems that's affecting not just businesses, but everyone. We are experiencing the depreciation of our kina, rise in prices of goods that affects everyone, including public servants, normal people, businesses. Rundown in infrastructure, such as roads. In Central Province, I have 9 roads, provincial roads that have deteriorated. I don't have funds to maintain those roads. Not to mention, I have 9 million that's still sitting in works, waiting for the works minister to release that, since I came into Parliament until now. So we have, in this prevailing environment where a lot of things are not happening the way they should be happening, and we are bringing this bill to the floor. The levels of corruption is also significant. We have majority of the people, members of this parliament, who are on the government side. Why do we need to bring this bill now, in light of everything that's happening? And so, I just want to say that it is a sad day for the people, the women and children and the youth, where opportunities for employment is not there because businesses are affected, provincial governments are affected. Where the sources of employment can come for the youths, where everyone is affected to the extent that we have not witnessed for many years, and we are bringing this bill to the floor. So I think it is a sad day for this country. It is a sad day also for democracy, that the numbers are there, we are not using the numbers. The provisions that have been used, that Member for Sinasine have already explained, the result and the decision that's coming out of that private business committee, that is also a sad result as well. So given the prevailing environment, I think it is not the right time to bring it. If the reverse was the case at this point in time, for us to make the decision, I would not have any problems with that. I would vote for it. But at the moment, why are we bringing this to the floor to debate it and to pass it? So that is my logic as to why, representing the people of Central Province, I will be voting against this bill. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Governor for Western.
For allowing me to contribute to this very important debate for the country. First of all, I think everyone is on the other side is thinking that the bill is before us to preserve 1% for the entire term of this government, this term. But this bill is not to preserve 1% or one prime minister. This bill is for the country. And like our friends on the other side have said, one time you will be on this side. And you would want to see that your government's policies are implemented to the fullest of where you want it to finish. But when there's a vote of no confidence coming in, you'll only have 18 months and as a Prime Minister, what would you be doing? You'll be always looking at the back of your shoulder and seeing who's going to be the next trying to backstab me. And you'll be trying to manage numbers. You'll be trying to manage politics. And as hard, and if when that happens, you realize that you're not walk, and the people behind you will also be watching what's going to happen next. And in doing so, it will hold this country ransom, because at that moment, the public service will not want to work. I had the privilege of working in Waigani sometimes back in my life. And we had ministers been changed for that department I was working 3 times. And during that time, my boss, who was a female, was always thinking that she'd probably be replaced by the new incoming minister. And we had no stability in the office. We didn't want to report to who. We were thinking that she's going to be replaced and this guy's going to be the next secretary. So we wanted to see who gets it. That's the scenario that I've seen in Waigani. The public service will not work when they know that there's a vote of no confidence been mooted. That's what we mean when people say we need stability. When there's stability, you will see that the public servants respond to the ministers, to the Prime Minister, and I think the country will move. But when we know that there's going to be a vote of no confidence, people are waiting for the next opportunity to be the secretary. People are waiting for the next opportunity to be the MDs or the CEOs of state-owned enterprises, and that creates the instability that we are referring to in government. And I'd like to remind all of us that don't forget that our right to have a vote of no confidence is not removed by this act that we're trying to pass. Our right to have a vote of no confidence is still there, but only the period is extended from. It is after. It's not removed. It's not removed, brother. My member.
Honourable members, talk to the chair.
You're right.
To address on individual members.
You're right to exercise your right, democratic right, as an elected member and as a citizen of this country, to put a vote of no confidence is not removed. You are given an opportunity to exercise it twice in every term.
Honourable Governor, we have a point of order.
It just hurts our eardrums listening to nonsense. We know that this bill is not about the elimination of the vote of no confidence, but it's about the narrowing down and the restriction of it. That is the objection. So he's saying it is still available. Yes, it is still available, but in a very, very narrow corridor. That's the point. So get it right, Mr. Governor.
Honourable member, your point of order is in order. But I would like to ask you to withdraw this word of saying nonsense, because every members of parliament have the rights to speak what they need to do. So,
well, nonsense is not an offensive word.
This is an honourable house, and we would respect every member's rights to debate on what they feel they want to debate on this floor. Honourable member, Honourable Governor, you continue your.
You should be a man, a sit-down lawyer. Don't argue and say you mean no sabe.
Honourable Governor, Honourable Member for Seriously Youngmul, I've acknowledged and say your point of order is in order. I've just only asked for the correction of it. I'll ask you to resume your seat.
Yeah, you man, you son up my talk.
Resume your seat. Resume your seat, Honourable Member. Resume your seat. Honourable Member, resume your seat. I only allow you for point of order, not for you to stand and point finger at another member. So, Honourable Governor,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for your correction. As I was alluding to, I want to remind the country and this floor that your right to exercise and have a vote of no confidence is not removed. Unless if it was removed, I don't think I'll vote for that bill. But it is still preserved. And if you multiply 5 years times 12 months, you have 60 months. Within the 60 months, after the Prime Minister is elected after the election, 18 months down the line, you'll have that opportunity. And if you don't succeed, then you will have to wait for another 18 months. So on the 36th month, you'll have that opportunity again to come back and put a vote of no confidence. So that's not the right for us to exercise. That right is still preserved. And within that 18 months, if you are dreaming of becoming a Prime Minister, I think you will have that opportunity to at least impress to the country that you are capable to be a Prime Minister, so the country can respect you. The ministers, the members of Parliament will probably give you the next 18 months. But if you don't have that, you are elected after the national general elections, and you are elected, and after 18 months, there will be a vote of no confidence. And then you might have another vote of no confidence coming in the next Parliament sitting after you were elected. That will probably be 3 months or 2 months down the line. How would you feel as a Prime Minister? Would you want that to happen to you? You would want at least minimum time for you to at least impress to the country who you are. So that's why on this side of the House we are saying that no, that should not happen. At least every Prime Minister of materials should be given an opportunity to prove himself to the people and to this country. So that
Honourable Governor, we have a point of order.
Just a quick query, Mr. Speaker, if the Honourable Governor can elucidate on what is the minimum time required for a Prime Minister to perform and demonstrate to the country that he has the competence and the wherewithal. What is the minimum time? Is it 3 months or is it 18 months? Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Member, he's trying to raise another viewpoint which the Governor is not alluding to. So, Honourable Governor.
Unfortunately, it's not question time, so I won't be not answering questions, but I'll continue with my debate as I'm not a... So you wouldn't want to be elected as a Prime Minister and after 3 months there's another vote of no confidence because the sitting Prime Minister who was replaced is not satisfied that he's been replaced. He wants to challenge the sitting Prime Minister, the Prime Minister that's been elected a few months back or 2 months back or so. So those are some of the realities. If you try to think as a Prime Minister sitting in the seat and trying to manage his country, you think of the realities. These are some of the scenarios that I'm trying to provide. So at least when we debate, we understand some of the scenarios that a Prime Minister would probably be going through. Another scenario. Suppose all makim you come a member of 1/10, and then if you don't continue the next term, or good as something you start in the last 5 years and you are a member now continue. Likewise, if you're a Prime Minister, walk in, now you start in. After 18 months and come back.
Honourable Governor, we have a point of order.
My point of order is that the Governor continues to say that suppose me must establish the term, me must ready to display the only way is you have to prove yourself is you must perform. As an open member or governor or prime minister, you are given ample time, you perform. If you perform, we don't think there's going to be a vote of no confidence.
Honorable member for not fly, your point of order is out of order. Honorable members, this is a time for debate, and every member have the rights to debate on what they feel and think about the bill that is being debated.
Thank you.
For you to raise a point of order is something that if you say out of law or out of the standing order, out of words that is not parliamentary, it's something we can raise point of order. But in regard to a member making a statement on his debate, allow him to finish his debate. And Honorable Governor, don't stand yet until the Speaker asks you to talk, but now you can continue from your debate.
Thank you, Speaker. You got to make it to parliament too. Thank you to so suppose you Prime Minister, you would like to start full term, no completing term, so that one M work you start him, yeah. I must carry pekena people were looking at talk. You am a good Prime Minister. Otherwise, 18 months now. I'll make him now, tomorrow come and replace him again. You might be only 1 month Prime Minister or 2 months Prime Minister. One time, you will. There was a bill passed sometimes back in 2000 or 2002 where late Senator Morata, who was the Prime Minister at the time, will pass his bill law, integrity of political parties. And that was to give stability to this country for a Prime Minister to run the affairs of the country for 5 years. I think that was a very good bill, but unfortunately the court roused him and it was unconstitutional. But the benefit of that, if you see today, any late government in the past, in that period from 2002 to 2011, they maintained the stability. And if you see the record of the economic growth at that time, during that period, the economy grew because there was stability, and because of stability.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Governor, what's your point of order?
The point of order is that the growth in the economy that was brought on by Samaria and the NA government had very little to do with stability. It had more to do with good government policy, discipline, and in fact, running really good surplus budgets, Mr. Speaker. The record is clear. You cannot put that down, and because they did a good job, the people of Papua New Guinea had the confidence to let them rule again.
Honorable Governor, I'll allow you to
Thank you.
Sum up your debate.
You know, that stability, because we had one leader in 2002 and continued until the 18 months, and then the next 18 months, that provided the platform for the good governance and the investor confidence to come in. If the late Prime Minister, Michael Somare, was changed straight after the election, after 18 months down the line, and then another Prime Minister replaced him, I do not think that good governance and that investor confidence will be there to grow that economy at that time. We had one leader that continued so that public servants were responding to him. They are providing the platform for that growth during that period. So suppose you're looking good. It's the stability that provided that good governance now, good that work government come up now. You were looking indicator plus the time and good luck. Now, the sitting Prime Minister is always watching his back. The investors are looking, who's going to be the next Prime Minister? What will be the policies for of that new Prime Minister's government will be like? Who will be the new minister? So, all Sinana, look. He got vote of no confidence or Poliman, all wait past time. Behind now, one man come Prime Minister, sitting Prime Minister, successfully defending seat, all but try to come in again now, try to hit him. No look him, suppose all can come now, invest. But if the Prime Minister has changed, all but sit back now, look him. And then they'll come in. So time you look him.
Stability is important for the country to grow. Stabilize him now, sorry. When stabilize not going to worry, stabilize this outside. So, time we got VONC every time, there'll be no stability. So at least we must have stability in government so that you can work in some good work, providing investor confidence, na public service by respond good workman government, na by imigat, by imi looking some growth of government, I mean economy of the country na, by the strategy some heavy way imigat of the country. Sabas nogat will continue to go on these cycles of instability na, by the go same yet. So one time Islam like Sabatim, Tintin Law, Governor of Namorobe, to get rid of all these issues that we are having. Give the opposition and the government too, by me support one time, you can pass him the bill so that country by making Prime Minister. And then we can solve all the issues about this debate here that we are trying to have here. Thank you.
The Honorable Governor for ECP.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Number one talk, me like talk. Thank you, Lo. You give him chance long. Harim nek lo people lo ECP. Plenty money call him name long. Somarena, mi harimna. Only like using this floor some justification as to why we need more stability. You know, it's a sad day for PNG when you missed up lo here na. People will watch him, you me lo camera na. One bla minister him sanap na talk out the another soul. Only give him 5 million kina. It's on hand side, and the people of Papua New Guinea saw that. So the interesting question is, how many of the government MPs were given 5 million kina today? No, we just heard it from a minister,
Honorable
Mr.
Prime Minister.
It's on the hand side.
Honorable Governor, we have a point of order. Allow Prime Minister to raise point of order. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, Blomi, Dr. Minister must not be quoted out of context. He was saying that government is a fair government. Government distributes resources to all districts. His districts get 5 million. Everyone gets 5 million. That was from the context. But I want to place on record. In this sitting of Parliament, there was no money given to each member of Parliament. We came in here for the Parliament business with no money given. So that's just for point of clarity.
Honorable Governor.
Thank you. I was just quoting the minister who spoke not so long ago. Second, too, I think it's very sad when a member in the government caucus screams across and says, "Mi plus save, you plus save man, na mi plus nogat." It is sad because surely we should be educated enough to be on this floor to debate matters such as changing the constitution. This is not a small thing. This last section belong constitutional way deals with stability of government, political stability. It is the most amended part of the constitution. How many governments before this one have amended it? In our first time, it doesn't matter if it's Mr. O'Neill or you yourself, Honorable Prime Minister. It is about the responsibility to the country. It's not about you, it's not about the Honorable O'Neill. We are here to defend what is good for our people. Time all founding fathers only sit down and design him constitution. In 1972, there was a reason why only put in DESPLA, safety valve, pressure relief valve, we go inside long democracy bloom. They designed it specifically. In a democracy, all parts are supposed to work well. I've been in this parliament now going by, I think, 7 years blooming up. In that time, the executive government has basically run roughshod over parliament. It has run roughshod over the courts. There is no accountability. You mean check and balance blame in a country, in no work here. And you want to give more power to the executive government in a system where the executive government already has a lot of power? That doesn't make sense to me. Whether you are in a private company or you start local government, they work because of checks and balances. They don't work because one person has absolute power. It doesn't work like that. Companies are successful because you got check and balance. System lo Papua New Guinea lo check and balance all Papa I design me I mean work good here. We have to go back and read the Constitutional Planning Committee report and try to understand what they were trying to do. You mean on a thing of now also wabla member of government sing out kan na toko mi plan no gat sabe. Well, suppose you plan no gat sabe, why you plan go back na senisim something where Papa make him in 1975. If you don't have the intellectual capacity to understand what they're doing, why do you want to change it? And admit, screaming across the floor, yes, mi plan no gat sabe. That is a sad day. Type of people of Papua New Guinea. What's you start now? You may leader admit or you no gat sabe.
No. Why is that?
That's not good enough. Our people deserve better. This is the 6th amendment to the Constitution that will be brought on by the Marape government. The Marape government has not served for 18 months. It has not served for 2 years. This is going on 6 years now. How much time, how much stability do you need to fix law and order? Another 6 years? Another 10? How much time do you need, leaders? How much time do you need to fix the power problem? Do you need another 10 years? How much time do you need to fix the fuel problem? More stability, more time? Mr. Speaker, this is ludicrous. You've been in power for 6 years and that's not a solution for FX. Why did we have an FX problem? Well, we had stability and we decided to close POGRA. POGRA took out $6.5 billion from our economy by being closed. That was a decision taken by this government.
You have a point of order, Prime Minister?
Absolutely, there's no evidence on $6.5 billion. He needs to state where his evidence comes from, Mr. Speaker. This parliament must not be parliament where people just pluck out numbers of the blue. And POGRA was started, and I take responsibility for government policy to get back more for our country. There was no flight of $6.5 billion out of this economy. He needs to produce the numbers.
Mr. Speaker,
Honourable Governor.
POGRA was making $1.2 billion in exports a year. So me just working rough calculation, not taking into account the massive increase in gold prices. But anyway, let's not go there. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the fact is, because we had no FX from POGRA, Treasury had to go out and borrow money just so our businesses could have FX to do business. The reason why businesses are not in Papua New Guinea, they don't want to come, is not because of unstable government. It's because they can't take their money out once they make a profit. It's as simple as that. Last week, that's all. Central Bank issued one statement where Emi Tokosem. No got one company by repatriating all profits belong out of Papua New Guinea. It is low priority. There's a letter from the Central Bank stating that. How much company overseas investors will come and invest here when you tell them they can't take the dividends out? Government policy, make it down by non-income. They come here to make a profit and take it out. You believe now?
Point of order.
I think this Forex issue was before Prime Minister Marape became Prime Minister. It's been an ongoing thing. Getting dividends out of the country, Forex issue was there before Prime Minister Marape came. So I think that statement should be withdrawn.
Honourable
Mr. Speaker.
Governor.
Thank you. The fact is, it was one of the reasons we changed government. We wanted to fix it. It's taken 6 years. When is it going to be fixed, my illustrious minister? When? Do you need another 3 years? Do you need more stability so you can sit in the chair for 10 years and fix it? Papua New Guinea can't wait that long for you to fix the problem. Okay. You play like Senisim system. All get a system, whether it's the engine of a car, the air conditioning system that runs here, they all have safety valves. You are proposing to put a delay mechanism. Now, the last time this parliament amended this section of the Constitution and gave the government 30 months grace period, guess what? Supreme Court struck it out.
And now?
Now you meeting us and we are so smart, we are going to outsmart the Supreme Court judges and make another amendment. That's what we are thinking. That's what we are thinking. The brilliant thing is that Papua New Guinea, what's in the Yumiogoda Sanabna, Totoklo here is Tapia. Why you mean like Senisim? Why you mean like Strongim? What are we trying to do? Coming back to law and order, it is a very sad day when leaders in this house say that Law and order is a leadership problem. You go to Australia, it's the justice system that resolves law and order, not leaders. The same thing in Fiji, the same thing in New Zealand, the same thing in any other decent country that's not a boy republic. Now, Mipla, no God, you know work lo police, you know work lo judge, you know work lo prosecutors, work lo you leader lo go down na straight him. Why are we so different to other countries? And why are we using that as an excuse to amend this section of the Constitution to give the government more power? There's another bill here. It's an anti-terrorism bill. We have to be careful, leaders. It starts by changing one law. Then you bring in another law, and before you know it, you've arrived at a totalitarian government. That's how it starts, leaders.
It's happening.
We are now on that road because you want it. Me like him was in Papua New Guinea looking past by supporting this bill because 5 years from now, when things get worse, I want them to know who is responsible.
Correct.
And I want them to know who stood up and said no. Who stood up and said no? No government has amended the Constitution as much as that government. You hold a record for constitutional amendments, and now you're proposing another one. Law and order should depend on a strong police force. Can the minister stand up and say that we have a strong police force? We have 5,500 policemen in Papua New Guinea. Fiji has the same number. Fiji has the same number. And Fiji is smaller than Isipik in its size. So don't blame law and order on leadership. If you want to, blame it on your own lack of understanding of what the problem is and what it needs to fix it. No can come na blaming more leader. I have fights in my districts where I have 2 policemen. Police is not the function of the ECP provincial government, it's the function of the national government. Function blow you plan. And in 6 years you haven't fixed it. Now going 7 years now. You plan need instability, lo making one threat. I think that's the more important question you should be telling the people of Papua New Guinea. What do you need the stability for? Because it's certainly not to fix our power issues. It's certainly not to fix our fuel issues. It's not to fix our FX issues. It's not to fix law and order. Because if you could, you would have done it already in 6 years. How much time does a prime minister need to fix problems? Does he need 3 years? Does he need 6 years? Does he need 10 years? Does he need 20? These are important questions that you should answer here. Not amend the Constitution so that you may guess fire, na. Strong him, na. We are going to have the same discussion in 2027. It's not good enough. Mibla no can make him law, lo suti Mibla lo now. Mibla should make him law where all tumuna by enjoy him. You know, the US Constitution has only been amended about 22 times in 200 years. I think we've already passed 22 times and it's not even 50 years yet. You should correct na amend him Constitution. This is not just an ordinary bill where we just like we did with the judges this morning. You know, there was an important argument there. Suppose you may like give him exceptional judges. We might as well give it to all Papua New Guineans. They work hard too. They pay taxes too. But no, you may just come now. In one swoop, we pass it. I got a man to question be put. Is this how we treat lawmaking in the House? For our people? Did we do that for our people or did we do that for ourselves? I am not going to pass a law and give the support and the voice of the civic people that could come back and hurt the civic people later. I think that would be irresponsible of me. Now, you civic people, you harim na mi totok lo dis la house here. You know, there were civics involved in writing this constitution. And now you may some civic, you may feel awesome. We know better than them and that's why we are going to amend it. Well, I want to submit here that I don't know more than Bernard Narakobi. He was a brilliant man. And out of respect for him, me no naplo amend him this la constitution. I can't bring myself to think that Sabeblo win him Sabeblo, Penat Narakobi, Nogat. Now you blow all civic MPs law here, please me ask him you blah. Me plus civic, me plus responsible of drafting this constitution of Papua New Guinea. We have a responsibility to protect it. We have a responsibility. And we can't change it because someone needs more time. Because he can't do it in 6 or 7 years, he needs more time. More time to do what? Deputy Speaker, vote blow people blow Isipik and no. Thank you.
I'll have the opposition leader.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. May I talk thank you, Lord. Minister, Honorable Pila Nenengi, look, Mr. Pepakam. Now I stand here looking across and seeing the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea. And from there, he looks across and sees me standing here as the opposition leader of Papua New Guinea. And so, me Sanaplo Tok on behalf of my people of Kiriwinagunenaf and the people of Milimbe, but more so as the opposition leader of the people of Papua New Guinea. And so, me sit down, harim talk blow over a man, na mi harim talk blow Governor Blomi, Governor blow Isipit province Tok, and mi harim talk ikam lona plaside now talk, and what bring to our amending constitution. And what bring to our amending constitution? And true. Tasso. Here we are, seated in this honorable house. Are we listening to ourselves or not? You know, talk or not? Or are we talking for an interest that is before us? I was sitting and listening to the governor from Morobe talking. And I'm talking numbers, that's all. You got number. But you said, listen, just yesterday you had a big argument on the floor. And you're not listening to yourself, Mr. Governor. You had the numbers at the caucus to discuss it, Mr. Speaker. And yet you could not address your issues at your caucus. Mr. Speaker, I hear my good brother, the member for Okap, address this honorable house. And he says, people around in Papua New Guinea and like him talk all right people of Papua New Guinea. Is it true? You gonna kill enough too?
Fake news. Not fly.
You gonna good enough too?
Not fly.
Opposition leader, we have a point of order. Member for Okapa.
With respect to the opposition leader, CLRC is a very important body of the government. Government has allocated funds for the staff, CLRC staff to go around in all parts of our country. And then invitation are given to 8 districts and provinces, public servants, and even councillors, councillor presidents, and all of them to come and then discuss any terms of reference that is issued by the government. So I'm sure those his districts and those that you mentioned have been visited. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Member for Okapa, your point of order is noted.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Island Blooming, a remote island. In order for you to go there, it costs the same cost of Balus, Logolo, Brisbane, and one kind of Yagolo Island. You want to cross from Abatao to my island, it will take you 24 to 36 hours to get there by boat. And I stand here to represent my people and to represent the people of Papua New Guinea. It's like law now, you may walk in. Is it in the best interest of the people of Papua New Guinea or the interest of the people in this house? That challenge I put to Yumi Wanwan sit down look. If it is for the interest of the people of Papua New Guinea, good. Search your hearts, Mr. Speaker. Yumi Wanwan, search him heart blaming. You know, can sit down also. Now, because number you talk, now you pass a bill based on number. Search your heart.
Honorable Governor, what's your point of order?
Mr. Leader, with respect to the point you are making, but never ever forget, you know, 1,000 man, a million man by council on here, on this parliament, or mark him, you, me, by the virtue of the Constitution, and we represent them in this parliament. So you stand up here, and you block Kirvina, you stand up here. I must 1,000 block Kirvina, and you stand up here. Now me stand up here. 1 million people, but more me stand up here.
So, Governor, what's your point of order?
You can question him because long interest from this country. We represent the country in various constituencies. We are here. So I ask you to withdraw that statement.
Honorable Governor, your point of order is out of order. Honorable Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The good governor has spoken. Now, Mr. Rana Mihari. He also, in the previous debate, said, me former judge, now me sit down, stop here. Mr. Speaker, just a few months ago, it was quoted in the newspapers. It was quoted both in the Post-Courier and the National. And this is the Chief Justice of Papua New Guinea saying this. I'm talking, Parliament, you may pass him some law in a good plan of this country. This is coming from the Chief Justice. And his minister is seated right before me as I speak. The Chief Justice made it plain and clear. What is he referring to? Emoklo Toklo, you mean one sit down inside of this house. Search your hearts before you vote for a law. Just a few weeks ago, in the papers again, the very same Chief Justice spoke about the lack of development in this country. Mr. Speaker, as I stand here and speak, the people of Papua New Guinea are waiting for us in this House to address some of the laws that are affecting them. Bluntly, something that needs to be fixed, the people of Papua New Guinea are waiting for. Legacy issues and legacy laws that have been carried since independence to now that need to be amended. And you know, Minister Forex, I take my hat off for you. Some of the laws that you brought to amend the land laws have been very good. And we need to change more of those laws that we carried forward from 1975 to now. But again, me look at this law. Now I see that we are trying to amend the law. Let me go back, and someone out there was talking about National Alliance Party, and I was a deputy president of National Alliance Party, and the good governor of Jiwaka was our president of National Alliance Party. And I remember the late Grand Chief Michael Somare, before he brings laws here, he would bring it to the National Alliance Council for deliberations. And we would spend hours, up to early hours of the morning, deliberating on some of these laws. And one of the laws that we had a look at is the very law that we're trying to amend now. The very law that this parliament is trying to amend now, Mr. Speaker. Now I look at the reasons why even our forefathers allowed the cushion, should I say, or the pillow to take some of the pressures off. And I look around here and I see a lot of party leaders seated here. Party leaders, would you just allow this to go through? Are you not a potential peer yourself? Amen. It really brings me to sit back here. It really brings me here to sit and look at some of the questions that have been raised by people who have studied the law and understand the law. And I look at what the Chief Justice of this nation has spoken about, laws that we pass on this floor of Parliament. And so, Mr. Deputy Speaker, our forefathers have looked at the law and have put in drafting of those laws, allow sufficient time for prime ministers to serve our country. The prime minister has got 18 months after Parliament, after election, and he's got 12 months before elections. And today, as I stand here and I look across, you plug at 90 pins. This is a backfire, this is a push and you plug you plug at it. What other protection do you want? What are something more you like? Put him on top of this. You don't need more comfort as we speak here today. What we need, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, is for the Minister for Justice to bring in laws that will strengthen law and order in this country. Laws that will fix the Forex issues in this country. Laws that we need to amend, laws that will protect. I just heard the governor say all investors in upcoming money go out. We need to look at that law and make it law in the country. So plenty law needs amendment for the benefit of the people of Papua New Guinea. You mean law here? You mean like amending law for our benefit in this house? So, Mr. Speaker, let me finish by saying this. When I hear members of parliament say, you got number, you come send us in government. This like talk, that's all, you got number. It's a very dangerous language. It is a very dangerous language. And let me give you caution. Our people are not stupid sitting out there and watching. Time you talk, you got number, you come send us in this law. People out there, out of, me too, me got number, me got tribe, me can protect me yet, me can destroy this place. Because me got number. Where is the rule of law? Where is common sense? Today I appeal as the opposition leader. Me appeal to Prime Minister Blow Papua New Guinea. And me appeal to the leaders of the government that you carry this law, go back and look good land past. That is my appeal to the Prime Minister and Parliament. That we should not pass this law, but allow it to go through a process of scrutiny. Na biya nyumi karim comeback, na nyumi vote lo this law. With that, Mr. Deputy Speaker, may I talk thank you the opportunity lo harim voice bloody. Thank you.
Honourable Member of Finsafen.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. May I rise to contribute to this very important debate by come up Laos. Mr. Deputy Speaker, me rise at the same time we got honor long representing party where me 14 member. Stop and said, I am honored to speak on behalf and for them on this particular issue where they've sort of allowed me to speak under a resolution and people looking slow combined thinking I would present to you and the house and whichever way I'm going, we can look him, we can talk law. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in my little party of 14 members, they are very qualified senior leaders like Seth John Tundari, they are termers like Sasindra Mutuvel, a lot of members who are more articulate in terms of presenting our position on this, but they've given me the honor. Nonetheless, and I would present to our House our views on this particular law. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, I think having had the benefit of a lot of these discussions coming from opposition, our government members, and these are healthy discussions, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we must embrace Why I say this is because in the spirit of democracy, when the architects who put together the system of government we call democracy, they allowed for majority to rule, but at the same time minority must speak. And thus we embrace some of the opinions spoken by our members from opposition, from our government. That is the spirit of democracy, Mr. Deputy Speaker. At the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we get to, with all our business that we say and our views that we bring to the floor, yes, the number gets to decide. But numbers should not just produce or do anything on the floor. Members should speak out. Mr. Deputy Speaker, time yumi stop lo place house na, igat house plong yumi or money at long stop na family house. Suppose Mary like moving table or floor na tok inside lo bedroom. You don't have tok plenty. You balarame make him. But time man la moving boundary, long ground blue you and boundary. So you must talk because it will affect you. You are creating the boundaries around which you will live, your children will live, and your grandchildren will live in. And this particular amendment is very important because we are trying to deal, as many speakers have said, on a particular notion or creature, of UNC. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I speak, having said, on government side, having the honor to sit on opposition side, in my short limited time. Me was a governor blong, nisipigi talk. I think 6 years, me was a member, second timer. But me was stop and look in the practice. Mr. Speaker, time all southern man blame me plenty lawyer stop there. All it touch him now, all founding fathers blame me. Time all planning mama law. Now like setting all law blame me. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to think and appreciate that when they set these laws, there was an intention of what, I remember making one and true. What was the original intention for putting this sort of pressure valve inside the Constitution, blaming? Mr. Deputy Speaker, at the same time, I step back to appreciate that when they put these provisions, such as now, you mean Section 145, these people who architectured that Section 145 have never lived through a Section 145 motion of vote of no confidence. Having practiced and having seen other legislations, they envision that in the future, if governments were to do this, you may put in this particular provision for that right to be exercised on the floor. Now, Mr. Speaker, me or Semitok Penis, most leaders here, say Puka staff, some senior leaders, they are more qualified to talk on this particular and the Constitution as well. But because by nature of you may come up legislator, Mr. Speaker, meeting every member on this floor must talk on issues because we are guardians of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Me like Lutingi Mosem, time this little man been put in this provision of VONC, Mr. Speaker, you would appreciate. They were men who were born in different times. All who got mobile phone, they were not men corrupted by our times. They were different men. The intention at the time was different. All the envisioning was what they put in there, they will be scheming and scamming, Mr. Deputy Speaker. The practice would be different. The intention of the VNC was that if there ever arose a situation where government go bankrupt, opposition, government or members of Kambung na put in VNC. But Mr. Speaker, one pla time stable uni me reading one pla textbook on politics. Na isla book you call him name blo sampla leader. Time mix independence isla book ito go sem. O leader mo honest leader. Ono sa geman. Time mo to go sa go. Time mo to come sa come. Ono sa velo trick. But time 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus VNC come. 1 or 2 or 3 plus leader blame me. Move go sem move come back. Move go sem move come back. Put him all him deck prime minister all him deck sem. That game evolved in the practice of this provision. It was never the intention in this to start with. When they envisioned the law, it was completely different. They expected honest men on the floor to speak their minds and their heart, and when their conviction was right, they would move and change. They did not think that they will move and go and come back and leverage it. If I don't go, Prime Minister, you give me this job. If I don't go, this. This lot didn't envision that. This was formulated over time in practice. The intention was very clear. I suppose some of the speakers on this floor. The intention was very clear. They wanted check and balances. But when those checks and balances were also
misused or all misapplied more checks and balance, you make at certain limits of instability now come up. Mr. Deputy Speaker, one former president blow. America, the greatest threat to democracy is indifference. The greatest threat to democracy is indifference. And I appreciate time, Governor Jufa, I think first time he became a member, Governor Jufa been making a statement. And in opposition, at that time I was a backbencher, I said in government, backbenchers. The greatest enemy to this country is not anyone outside of this house. We are our greatest enemy for progress. You me all members, you me stop on the floor. We become our greatest enemies on this floor. And I could remember clearly as if it's yesterday. Mr. Speaker, when I think Governor Blongisipik, he talked about the US Constitution was amended probably less than 10 times. I appreciate the comment he made. But the context was that the Americans came from the mother of democracy. They came from England. Papunini come lo Stone Age na you come out there. So you can appreciate why sometimes we fail to understand provision. Sometimes we adjust, but that's the practice we must evolve into as a democracy. Mr. Deputy Speaker, time you may appreciate them all different issues where Kamlo you meet us all some law and order and other issue. You can appreciate in the world too. The world is evolving. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to make a statement, and I think it's a fair statement, that social issues will continue to evolve. And when times change, people will need to adjust to the practice. Mr. Speaker, let me make a point. Having seen a lot of government changes, a lot of lobbying, a lot of this and that, the intention is far from the practice. The intention of this law is far from the practice. The practice is quite different. The practice is far beyond what our founding fathers imagined when they put this provision in. Now, if you give this, Attorney General has brought this amendment. If we put this law through, what will it do? In my view, it will give security and stability to government to stay. One, time we call him name law, stability. Mr. Deputy Speaker, was some plenty you may stop long politics, name go come now. All of us experiences to see how it's really played on the floor. Time we go into the politics on Blaman talking me. Time you step outside, it's like rugby league. The country is watching. You may go some, you may start on live TV now. People watching us. It's like a rugby league game. And people will comment, people will say this and that. But what actually happens on the floor is far from a spectator's point of view, because he stands on the outside and sees, and he comments and says, I'm not like step or seven. He could have passed the ball. But when you're actually on the floor and you're passing, it's different. My point is the practice of trying to deal with the VUNC is different. Mr. Speaker, my second point, my last point, number Mr. Speaker, now party position along our party is that one, this will now encourage stability. One word, one, it will be like a shield to protect the kind of pressure that a ruling party or a government or prime minister has to endure, because he's prime minister and he is equal among all of us, and he has to be voted by us. That too becomes a case when he has to report to all of us whether we want this or that or this or that. He just has to give, because there's a certain provision called VUNC. So, Prime Minister, if you don't give me this, or your government or your coalition doesn't give me this, I'll go this. It's no longer about country or whatever. Sometimes it's misused for personal gain. Therefore, some form of stability is good. Some form of stability is good. Now, if we give this certain level of confidence, it's a shield to give confidence. My challenge, my position, meaning my party's position, is that we will support this amendment. My challenge to the Prime Minister now is that this legislation is a shield and a sword for you to utilize. One, it takes away the unnecessary pressure of people who don't have the intention of using this that was said by our forefathers, but for ulterior motives, to capitalize on a provision like this. One, it must give you the strength and the confidence to make strong calls now as we enter. One of our recommendations as a party was that next year, those will maybe go 50 years now. Time you go 50 years, Prime Minister, we will support you with this legislation. You must now make strong calls, reform, agendas, law. Mamolo, you must send him so that after 50 years, we must set new boundaries, new sets of records. You must make him as a government. So now, time we will support him, we will give him strong confidence long. This law said, we will 14 man, we will talk, we will support him. And we will like stop set up on the government and Prime Minister, take this as a conference for you to make some hard calls and for us to progress forward. So this la contribution blemilo this la debate kamosemna me like appreciate him ogata comments you make him laos one plan note sol me like put him na missing down Mr. Deputy Speaker. Time you talk to floor, you must respect him opinions blemilo floor. Governor Blomi em togo se morobe bad lokam tok. That's why em tok and morobe tok. My 100,000 people of Finsafen will not speak. Therefore, when I speak for them. That's why when you get my vote on this particular bill, Finsafen is voting for it. Morobe is voting for it. So you must respect him, but at the same time, you may appreciate him where our comments are coming. Now you may go forward. So, Mr. Speaker, as leader of our party, resolution blocks and party, and we will support him. There's a certain amendment to Justice Minister Ksim Kamlimi. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, me like Pastor Luther, thank you, Lord. You got patience. And secondly, me hamamas long leaders, you may sit on the house now. You may join in debating a proposed law. If this Parliament gives the number, this law will come into the motion is set for the second and third votes to take place in 2 months' time. Mr. Speaker, this law, you know, something law you may pour it. Me like giving barely seal on all opposition. Contrary to points of racism also, maybe broken democracy. Me like talking correct positions in the law. Mr. Speaker, Constitution, this law provision law 145, it has stood the test of time up till today. The last time an amendment was done, the Supreme Court, and this amendment was done in February 2013. Supreme Court, he turned him down this amendment. That amendment was done by the previous government, and we extended vote of no confidence period from 18 months going up to 30 months. In 2018, and the Nama case, and we ruled him this unconstitutional. They come back to 18 months. Mr. Speaker, before this 18 months grace period, from 1991, my notes here tells me on the 18th of July 1991, there was a constitutional amendment in the same provision. And moving from 6 months, come law 18 months. So, Mr. Speaker, Section 145 is a heavily visited provision of law in our country. Deep in the heart of this conversation is governance, ascension to office, stability, and everything else that goes around this one. Mr. Deputy Speaker, me like giving barely see law. These members, all members of Parliament, the House, you. Time this law, me propose him, give him 18-month grace period again. Amino proposal or rouse him 18 months grace period, no that. 18-month grace period, I'm stopping at them. Mr. Naple, members of the caucus, long, me like to thank you long. Or leaders of the party. We play sit down the government caucus, we debate this. We play stop the cabinet, we debate this. You know, SCBM come through because one man like preserving status quo, no that. There was a continuous process of scrutiny of this proposal. And I stand here on record. I said I will never in the life of me remove Section 145, especially the earlier provisions, Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, and we talk long, lot of VONC, they come up. Mr. Speaker, so, Deputy Speaker, so Vote of no confidence have started. Talked of long leaders of the House, especially our brothers in opposition, and be through. It is a safety valve that our fathers of our constitution saw the need and they planted, and this amendment does not, or this insertion of Section 5 does not remove the Section 145 provision to remove a Prime Minister. Far from it, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, you know, you like calm, sensitive government, I mean no trivial matter. I mean no trivial matter. I mean serious matter. Especially government who said it gives him Section 63 invitation through the electoral process. How do you nullify the electoral process? The people's mandate here in the House wants to nullify the electoral process, then the leaders would have moved to one side. And the government would be changed. I bring to you recent change of government in 2019. When the supermajority of leaders moved, there was nothing someone can do about stopping that movement of body of leaders to change government. So no one stops the change of government. In fact, after 18 months and for 2.5 years, that right is preserved. Our standing order says it is not a parochial matter. It is a serious matter. You're trying to diffuse a Section 63 invitation to form government. Collective numbers come, you mobilize, you can change the government anytime within that period, from the lapse of 18 months grace period to 12 months before the writs are issued for the next election. That preservation of right for VONC remains. This one stops busybodies, and lawyers know what busybodies are. I don't need to educate them on what busybodies are. We've got enough lawyers in this House to know what busybodies are. You run in and out without the standing of mandate on your side. And this House debates this, and it, for instance, this law, the democratic process will run its course. If the number prevails, this law gets passed. If the number doesn't prevail, this law is either withdrawn or removed from the process. And so I want to give assurance to members of both sides of the House. In fact, my members from the opposite. Emino Rausim right long vote of no confidence, no that. I'm serious matter here. You like Rausim government where me kissing mandate after the elections. You stake him up argument good and your argument. But winning bad blow, not blow brother member here. You know kind of argument also, you know what sawe and meet us all get sawe. This is you know kind of argument of winning bad blow member. You know kind of argument thing also, you tell us all over something, no know what sawe. Okay. You must start passing houseman or place here. Leadership and blow, barely see, Mari, cutting talk to good. Leadership will continue on yet. You remind him of this house, play politics with maturity. This country has been held to ransom by those who want to be prime ministers and those who want to be ministers. Few of you were ministers in my cabinet on the other side. I'm gentleman enough not to expose your performance or otherwise. Prime Minister is just a #1 minister amongst a cabinet of ministers. Responsibilities are delegated, transferred, work is shared. Today I may have the skill to manage numbers and hold politics and do work, and that is fine. I will do it until 2027. Just like Megere passed a law in 2001, God bless his soul. We all say he's a good leader, he is a good leader. Passed the organic law on political parties and candidates that gave 9 years of undisturbed rule to the Somali government, that created the biggest cascade of waterfall in as far as foreign investment is concerned for our economy. Mekere did not enjoy the benefit of the law that he passed, but he passed it so that the next government benefits the law. I was here in this house when former Governor of Western Islands, former Prime Minister Pius Winti, stood there, right there, and said, I was busy managing numbers in the 80s, not managing politics. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I give you some statistics. 1975, we became independent. 1977, first general election. 1980, first VONC. 1982, Somalia comes back in. 1985, second successful VONC. 1987, third general election. 1988, second successful VONC. Third successful, I beg your pardon. 1992, fourth general election. 1995, resignation because of afraid that he may be overthrown, the good leader from Western Highlands. Later, court found that his election was improper, and another government came in, government of Sir Julius Chain. 1997, we went to election. The good late Bill Skate came in. 1999, he went out, Mekere came in. In the first 27 years, foundational 27 years of a nation's life, we were busy playing politics, just like we are playing today, with no element of consciousness to the need to progress our country. Statistics shows, Mr. Deputy Speaker, very clearly, the economy in 1975 was a 5 billion Kina economy. The economy in 2002 was a 17 billion Kina economy, central bank statistics. For the 27 years, we had grown our economy by only 12 billion Kina because there was high rotation in Wageni. I give you another example. In 1979, the first conversation on 2% royalty for Panguna mine came into government. Somalia government may have received it. The Chain government came in 1980. The Somalia government came back in 1982. The Winti government came in 85. No one was seriously progressing the Bougainville conversation on their right for environmental compensation and a little bit of royalty in respect to the resource they own. In 1988, 14 years after independence, whilst we were heavily engrossed in politics, talking smart like Sawermans here, first power pylon fell in Panguna, and today we live with the legacy of the crisis because Wageni was busy in politics and not addressing core issues. This is not a defense of my tendency. I may resign in 2027. You never know. You don't know what's happening in me. But I'm constructing something to give certainty for those of you who aspire to be prime ministers. Go to the elections. Get the Section 16 invitation. Come and run government. 18 months later, if you don't perform, you're removed. You're performing and members trust you, you remain in government. Do the work, continue on. Well, I have been managing politics at the same time running this country since 2020. PNC-led government should not speak on this matter because you introduced a 30 months grace period in 2013. All in the interest for good measures. Because I was part of the government, busy managing politics. Busy managing politics at the same time. The only safe period we had was Somalia government 2002 to 2011. The economy grew the biggest, from 17 billion Kina to a 46 billion Kina. Guess what? No rocket science. Of course, they started the export-driven strategy, the SMBL for forestry, but a core one was ExxonMobil into PNG at the back of political stability. They had the stability. They ran with no element of threat from 2002 to 2007. They came in 2007 to 2011. Unfortunately, and if you want to talk about changing government, you have to look into the books of those who played in 2011. They played because majority number shifted on this house. That's why Governor Wenger says majority matters. And so I want to give assurance to members of this House. This does not remove VONC from our country's law. I will be a defender of Section 145 in the VONC process. But if you come to the table, such a thing to introduce a VONC, you must not be a busybody. You must have full transfer of numbers on your side. So investors know, country know, everyone knows. You don't go into the deep blue sea trying to fish for fish. I was saying a little bit earlier, you go to a deep blue sea with I'm not a fisherman, but my brother officer leader, you go you go to reef, you must carry a big net, or spear go inside. You go to deep sea, kiss him tuna, you carry a equipment block, tuna go inside, you kiss him tuna. Pull him good, now come inside. Sensitive government and serious something. Provision of sensitive government is stuff, suppose you know that number, eat your humble pie and let them government continue for 1 or 18 months. So there's some progress, some sanity. Not you come every now and then. And to those who feel that this will entrench dictatorship, far from it. Our constitution allows a government to set at the 5th anniversary of invitation to form government. Government naturally dies. Government sets. We all go to the elections. Everyone was saying PNC was bad, PNC was bad, PNC was bad, but they won elections in 2017. At the backdrop of going to the elections. And so election process remains as the natural neutralizer of all aspirations. But give mandate. If the leaders feel they won mandate through the election, for instance, Pangu Party won 39. How do you deduce that mandate? The 39 members who won in the elections. And when you stand up on the other side with only one voice, do you disqualify the mandate that 39 people stood behind and rallied behind a party? But of course, if the party has collapsed, the VONC process is still there for the migration of members to the other side. And you mount it proper. I give you a little bit of school if you need further school in the standing orders. Don't come to this parliament failing deliberately 5 attempts on VONC with wrong signatures. Wrong signatures, wrong name, wrong numbering. And I know you're not stupid. You deliberately failed this.
Prime Minister, we have a point of order. Member for about.
I think Prime Minister is defending the system that made errors in our view, PBC. So he really should not talk about those things. Let it stay where it is rather than defend his argument on the wrong way.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the questioning on PBC's integrity is a question on your chairmanship. The Speaker and yourself chairs PBC. But PBC is a constitute of members of PBC. The present PBC has a senior member of this parliament, Governor of Gulf in the PBC. The process of submitting a VONC is absolutely clear. Every one of you know that process. Don't come to PBC with broken down submissions that will be refused by PBC. It's a serious matter. Do it properly. Mr. Speaker, the processes are clear in our constitution. If the government has decayed to a stage where all members of parliament feel that government needs to be changed, you don't need that section 145 to hold it back. Number would have shifted clearly, brought by the daylight, and government will change. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying section 145, in terms of VONC, is preserved. The alternate, this number on this side, if this side was thinking dubious, we would come to this house asking to remove completely 145. We have more number here than ever in our nation's history. Combined government, thanks to the members who give security to this government's rank, numbers over 90. We can come to this house if we want to use government strength and to remove completely section 145. Number dictates, but we are more responsible than this. Section 145 remains. We preserve section 145 in VONC, but if you come with no number as a busybody, then government gets 18 months again, Mr. Speaker. That's the alternate we put into this house. Thank you.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk. The question is that the motion, the proposed law, be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Second reading, a proposed law to alter the Constitution and for related purposes.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move
the proposed law without amendment forthwith.
Is leave granted? Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the proposed law without amendment be agreed to.
The question is that the proposed law without amendment be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honourable members, as this is the first vote, the Constitution requires that the vote must be recorded, and that in order for the proposed law to pass, it must also be supported by a two-thirds absolute majority of 79 members. Honourable members, the Parliament will now vote. Clerk, ring the bell. Attendants, close the door. The question is that the proposed law, with or without amendment, be now agreed to. Those in favor, please stand. Those against, please stand. Honourable members, the results of the vote stands. Those who vote in favour 79 and noes 14. Honourable members, in accordance with Standing Order 222E, I now order the third reading, which is the second required opportunity for debate and second vote, be adjourned for at least 2 months, this day as required by the Constitution. Leader of Government Business.
Deputy Speaker, I now move that Parliament adjourn till 10 a.m. tomorrow.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honourable members, I now adjourn Parliament to tomorrow 10 o'clock a.m.